90s, 96 to 99, I believe. And this dude, Brian Odom, was a starter on that team as a freshman. Look, we're talking about a guy that was playing the Tim Tebow's quarterback position before there was a Tim Tebow quarterback position. 1999, he carried the ball 344 times for 2,490 yards, 40 touchdowns. Dude was just straight chugging it.
Our man R.J. Young talking about Brian Odom. It is Brian. I called him Barry, 3 times today?
Don't do that.
Linebackers coach, Oklahoma Sooners. It's looking like the Sooners might fill the next position here pretty soon. We'll talk about we'll obviously talk about Kyler Murray in this segment as well. But let's talk coaching. Hey, really good ad. I mean, you get Brian Odom, a native Oklahoman from Missouri. A good position coach, a solid recruiter. Should fit in with the Sooners, and you get him away from his brother.
I don't know necessarily that you wanted to just get him away from his brother, but I really think this has more to do with Grinch wanting to put some folks around him that know how he does things. I don't know where that came from. Look, he worked with him at Washington State, right? But also, if you look at Brian Odom, one of the things that I love about him, not just the native Oklahoman and, of course, the great high school career, and he has a national championship ring, so that's 2 on the staff now. But he's a former strength coach, and as a guy who went through college thinking he was going to be a strength coach, I can tell you this dude is detail-oriented. He's loud. He's aggressive. He probably doesn't sleep much. Probably sprinkles his cornflakes with rebar. But, that's one of the things that I think you're really looking at when you're talking about a guy that's probably going to coach the entire linebacking group, which, it's been split into 2 factions with inside and outside in the past. But the last time something like this happened, it was on the offensive line. Bill Bedenbaugh took it over when they had Bruce Kittle and Bobby Jack Wright coaching guards and tackles that wasn't working, and it seemed to work out pretty well. So I really think this is a good hire all the way around.
And RJ, are you hearing that Roy Manning from UCLA, I guess, he's another guy that was with Grinch at Washington State, and I guess he's kind of the front runner for the other job?
I'm glad you read the board, brother. That's what it is. That's OUinsider.com. Brandon Drummond and myself, we've been on this. He and a couple other guys, I would encourage you to check out the board, are in the running for this. We expect to find something out in the next few days. Not necessarily because they got to rush it, but because you want to get your staff together and go out there and perhaps secure some recruits that you still have an opportunity to get into this 2019 class, but really solidify going after the rest of the 2020, which is only 5 deep right now. But we saw the eyes tweeted. We'll see who that is.
But, that's, again, I'm with you there. You don't have to go super fast on that, but I think it's Sooners rather than later, pun intended, it's better. It helps you with this year, helps you with the future. Maybe he knows guys that you could maybe get in on as well. I like Roy Manning a lot.
There's a lot to like
Michigan,
about him.
Yeah, from Michigan, played at Michigan, has come up the ranks, worked hard, recruits well. Again, he checks the boxes that everybody wants these days. Young, energetic guy, which I think OU needs. Obviously, I think their staff, their defensive staff, the way it's set up with Grinch, Thibodeau, Odom, we'll assume it's Manning. You have some young, energetic, go-after guys, and you still got Ruffin McNeil, the grizzled vet, too, because you need one of those every once in a while.
Not every once in a while. You need that guy if you're Lincoln Riley to bounce stuff off of because you're still very young in this job, and you're still learning how to do it. So I think that guy serves a lot of different functions for Lincoln. But the way that the staff is made up, Roy Manning would be the cornerbacks coach, which I think is very interesting because he hasn't coached defensive backs since he was at Michigan, and that's been some years. But he's also coached running backs. He's coached inside and outside. He's got recruiting ties in the West Coast with Washington State and UCLA, where he is currently employed. But I like him more than anything because he's going to be the live wire that you probably need to get the kids back to thinking about being what they called themselves to start the season last year, which was the Jack Boys. Now, that didn't go so well for them, but having somebody in their corner that's going to fire them up the whole time can't be a bad thing, especially with Alex Grinch coaching the safeties, which we assume because he's coached safeties everywhere else.
Yeah, so what you're telling me is Roy Manning, he's coached, like you said, corners, linebackers, running backs. That just tells me he's a good recruiter, and they just find a spot for him on the staff somewhere. We mentioned quarterback. Interesting because I go to OUinsider.com as well, and the trending now, our man Paul Feinbaum obviously wants to kind of keep OU down. He predicts Jalen Hurts will go to Miami. I talked about this yesterday with Brandon Drum. you have Miami, you have Maryland, you have OU, are really the three places he's talking about. And look, one of these things is not like the other. I mean, OU is those other schools aren't in the same stratosphere for Jalen Hurts, who's a one-year guy. As far as if he wants to win football games, it's not even close where he should go.
More than that, it's about, do you want to get NFL tape to be a quarterback that can go in the first, second round next year? And I think that's what we're really talking about. It's not just what you can do as far as winning football games and perhaps getting back to a college football playoff, winning a 5th straight Big 12 title would certainly help. But you also have an opportunity to show everybody that you can do all the things we know you can do. I am really irritated by folks believing that Jalen Hurts is not a fit for, say, Oklahoma because they don't believe he's as accurate with the football. And I got to tell you, folks said the same thing about Kyler Murray when he transferred, that he was damaged goods, he's undersized, he's a 5-star kid that's flaming out. You get to Lincoln Riley, he fixes, tweaks, and all of a sudden you're winning the Heisman Trophy. You know, and I think the other reason this is a great fit for Oklahoma is, yes, your offensive line is going to be very young, so you would love to have somebody back there who is mobile and can allow them 4, 5, 6 games to gel into the kind of line that they need to be to compete for championships.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think a lot of it is Lincoln Riley. He's figured out how to utilize the talent he has. And the O-line, again, being young is a concern, but if you look around, they'll have the two running backs back, Sermon and Brooks, CeeDee Lamb, Calcaterra, all those young receivers. You figure at least one of them will contribute right away, maybe more. The offensive talent that they'll have to work with OU, combined with the mad genius Lincoln Riley, is something I don't think that Hurts can pass up.
Well, he could, right? Because you have familiarity with Mike Locksley and Dan Enos. And quite frankly, the reason Miami is even being talked about and entertained the way that they are is because they look like they might be able to compete in the ACC, but probably not. And we all know that Maryland's signature win is Texas last year. And folks tend to forget they pushed Ohio State to the brink, so they almost had Ohio State kicked out of the whole college football playoff conversation before it really got started. But nobody's really believing that Maryland is a good football program. It's just a place where he would be unchallenged. And I don't necessarily think that Jalen Hurts wants to not be, right? But I also think that with Austin Kendall clearing out, Kyler Murray clearing out, he's in a great position to walk in, take the job. And by the way, we got to mention it because folks are going to get upset if I don't. Tanner Mordecai's still at Oklahoma, man. And that kid passed for 3,900 yards, rushed for 1,100, won a lot of football games, and he's got the traits to be good. But I don't know that this year is his year.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Tanner Mordecai's the guy with an inexperienced offensive line, I still think there's obviously a ton of talent elsewhere. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Alex Grinch and that defense to produce right away. So that would be a concern. We got to talk about Kyler. He made the decision. Now, again, he could still play baseball. I kind of feel like, and I think we've talked about a bunch. I know you've said this. It just feels like football is what he wants to do. And quite frankly, if that's the case, even if you're Oakland, I know it sucks. He just doesn't. I don't know if want to play baseball is the right thing. He just has this football itch that needs to be scratched.
I don't think so. I think that he can be swayed. I think what Kyler Murray wants most isn't necessarily money. He wants to be the guy. He wants to be family. He wants to know that you're going to do everything in your power to make sure he succeeds. Now, that's basically what you do when you draft a guy number 1 overall in the NFL. So if there's some moves that are made, and by number 1 overall, I mean to any team. So he goes to the first round as quarterback. Right. He's going to be their guy. But also with baseball, I think Oakland is playing this the way that you should, which is to say, look, I'm going to use a marriage example, okay? We're married to you. We understand that other folks are going to wink at you and hit on you, but we also know you're married to me, and I'm coming to court you because that's my job. That's what you do as a good partner. But also in here is they could continue to throw more money at the kid, and I understand that you're put off by this, and a lot of other folks are too. But baseball needs Kyler Murray more than football needs Kyler Murray. Mm-hmm. And since they've already floated out here that we are willing to add money to your signing bonus, even if it counts against our 40-man roster, the sky's the limit on what you can actually give the kid. And if you can give the kid the kind of experience, and they are, where you're going to travel with the big league team. You're going to take it all the way up to spring training. They've said that they'll accelerate him through the minors, and they're going to give him every opportunity to be an everyday outfielder in the show. That's a great opportunity, and I understand you guys aren't necessarily enthused by the marketing aspects of this, but me speaking as a kid that loves both baseball and football, grew up playing baseball, there are only 7.7% of African-American players in Major League Baseball. You need them. The average TV viewer for a Major League Baseball fan is 53. They're basically AARP members. You have to go get Kyler Murray to make it appointment television to where folks will show up and say, hey, I just want to see that at bat. I want to see Kyler's at bat. Then I'll go back to doing what I'm doing. The way that folks show up to say, I just want to see Tiger strike the ball off the tee.
Mm-hmm. No, and again, it isn't over because he can still, I guess, go to the A's.
And he will. He'll report to spring training.
He'll report. Well, I guess he has to report to get the rest of his money.
Right.
So.
Right.
So I wonder this, and I think he could. Will he just try to hold a private league? Will he try to do a private workout?
I don't see how it helps him. I don't see how it helps him. I don't see how going to a private workout, going to pro day, or going through the combine does any good for him, because all of his influence, all of his leverage is soft. It's all what we're talking about. And because we continue to talk about it, and because we're so wrapped up in the bidding war between the NFL and Major League Baseball, yes, the endorsements are going to be there, and everybody's going to watch what this kid does next year, whether it's baseball or football. And baseball knows we have to get him in front of TV cameras. That's why we're going to accelerate him through the minors. Yeah. He's not going to toil away for the 2 or 3 years that we thought he might, because there is all of this buzz around this kid. Everybody knows that, and I think that's being underplayed by purists.
I guess it might be telling if we get a glimpse of what's he doing the next 2 months. Is he playing baseball, or is he working out for
Let me put it this way. What did you hear Kyler Murray had been doing for the last 3 weeks?
Nothing.
Exactly. I think they've been very good at keeping under wraps what he's doing, and I expect it to stay that way.
That's what I said. What has Kyler Murray actually said up until he tweeted a sentence yesterday?
It's very
really
smart.
In the past month, he said a sentence.
Yeah, and it's kind of reminding me of Dax Hill's recruitment, where he didn't say much of anything. And then we had some things go on with Michigan, Alabama, Michigan, but he still didn't say much. I love this about these kids. They're getting very smart about this.
Good stuff. RJ, just one more. Have you heard what Kyler's father prefers? I got to think he'd have a big say in this. I thought I heard he preferred baseball.
Kevin Murray is preferred to Kyler Murray. Kevin Murray wants to see his kid be a star. That's where he's at. He understands now that it's much bigger than anything that he would want. Even as a quarterback, especially as a baseball player, it's about making Kyler the guy. That is what his parents are doing. They want to make sure that wherever he goes, he's going to be the king of whatever club that he goes to.
Yeah. Good stuff. Hey, we'll chat Thursday.
All right, guys.
Thanks, RJ. Excellent. As always, check him out at RJ_Young and OUinsider.com as well. We'll be back. One more segment. We went a little bit long with RJ. Meaty stuff. Lots to talk about.